So, something to get into when it comes to socionics, typology, whatever, is the issue of neurodiversity. Okay, neurodiverse issues, let's call it. It's something I've been kicking around for a while. I have family members who have some of these issues, from ADHD to levels of autism and things like that. So I've had a few people the wife kind of pushing me towards discussing this more, bringing this into the conversation. And I've sort of resisted, but I think it's time to kind of raise the issue, start bringing it up a little bit. It's important to bring up because I think for any of us who've been in typology for a while, let's face it, there's a lot of people that come across as having neurodiverse traits. They may not be diagnosed, officially speaking, they may have self-diagnosed, whatever, right? But just as an observer, we can all kind of look around and go, yeah, there's definitely some people around here that are exhibiting certain traits of one type of neurodiversity or another. And it often becomes a bit of an issue at times if you're trying to type. A lot of people, let's face it, come into typology at times. They want to know their type. They want to know, who am I? What's my deal? Why have I had these sort of struggles throughout my life? Why have I struggled in this area or that area? Maybe type can help me. Yeah, maybe type can help you, but sometimes maybe the reason you've also struggled in some of these areas is not necessarily a type issue, but a neurodiverse issue. It's an ADHD issue, or it's a autism issue, or a whole bunch of other things. Just with those two conditions alone, without even getting into other stuff, those two things really can manifest themselves so widely. They vary so much. ADHD in boys is often very different from how it is in girls. And then even amongst boys, it's going to present differently. Autism, same thing. High levels, high functioning types, other types that are really low functioning, and everything else in between. There's always the question of, do certain types have a correlation to neurodiverse, right? Are all NE types just ADHDs, right? That's a little stereotype that lingers from, I think, MBTI and so on. I think that's not true. I don't think you really see ADHD with NE. But you can kind of understand why these things sometimes pop up in conversation. Do certain types that are non-expressive, that have flat affect, are they all autistic? Probably not. But what's the difference? How can we tell the difference? Questions like this are stuff that pops up a lot and time again. I've already mentioned that if you've been around for a hot minute, you've definitely seen a number of people by now. I think it's impossible to deny a good percentage of people in type world that have something. They're on the spectrum in some kind of way. And it creates questions as to their type. It creates questions about intertype relations. It throws into confusion a lot of things. And we start trying to solve these problems by coming up with other systems to account for behavioral differences and other social things. Like we start coming up with DCNH models, we start coming up with subtypes, we start coming up with psychosophy, we start coming up with Enneagram, and we start layering and pancaking all these things on top of socionics, MBTI, whatever, to try to account for all this weird variation. Well, one of those big variations is neurodiversity. It's something that really requires talking about. So I'm going to be going into that a bit more. And I would have to throw out the disclaimer right away, just cover my ass basically, that I'm not here trying to diagnose anybody. I'm not here trying to give anybody recommendations on how you should do it or give you any sort of medical advice. While I am a medically trained person and I know various people who also suffer from these various issues. I am not your medical provider. I'm not here to do that. So I'm going to have to put that little disclaimer out there in front of all these videos just to try to minimize the comments. Let's put it that way. All right. It's just a topic that, neurodiversity, that is a topic that, again, needs to be addressed in the community, and even outside of typology. It's its own huge issue. It's its own huge thing within the psychology world. So it's another thing that needs to be discussed in and of itself. Okay. So this is just kind of the FYI, this is coming to a theater near you kind of discussion. So hopefully some of you all will be looking forward to that. Please leave your likes, subscribe, your comments. Hopefully nice comments. It's not people going crazy. I know neurodiversity is a very sensitive topic. It's a very diverse topic. There's all kinds of opinions. So let's try to keep it civilized.